Welcome to the sixth episode of This Happened Here. In this series, I bring you true stories, the good and the bad, of what happened here in the USA and anywhere else in the world I find interesting stories to share with you. Today, I bring you the story of Ruby Falls. If Leo and his crew had drilled just a few inches over to the right or to the left, they might not have found this amazing fall. We visited some time ago with the intent to make this a part of the series, and now I want to share this amazing story with you. A story of love, adventure, and wonder. Now, if you enjoy any part of this episode or have enjoyed any of my past episodes, please give it a like, share, and do subscribe so you don't miss any of the series. I will be posting a video weekly. I am your host, LT Bartek. Now, here is the story. On August 16, 1895, a baby's cry bellowed throughout the room. Drusilla Booth, 37, had just given birth to her son, Leo Lambert. His father, James M. Lambert, 38, stood outside and listened to his son's cry. Joy filled his every pore. The moment he looked into his son's eyes, he knew he was going to be a great man. Fearless and loving, he nurtured his son, and soon he was a man off to college. Leo studied hard, and soon he was a trained chemist. Even though that was his profession, his passion was cave exploration. Another passion of his developed when he met his beautiful girl. Her name was Ruby Eugenia Lucy. Ruby was 2 years younger than Leo, having been born on April 14, 1896. They fell in love with each other almost immediately. So, after college, when Ruby moved back to her family home in Chattanooga, Tennessee, Leo followed. He looked around and saw that this was meant to be. There were so many caves and caverns for him to explore, and one cabin in particular was a Tennessee cave on Mount Etna, which is now known to us as Raccoon Mountain Caverns. He was also overjoyed that he was given the opportunity to manage the Nickajack Cavern in Marion County, also in Tennessee. One day, while he was out exploring, he noticed Lookout Mountain at a part of it that looked like it had once had an opening to it. He did some research and found that it had been sealed by Southern Railway when they built the railroad tunnel. So Leo formed Lookout Mountain Cave Company, and with the aid of investors, they took a chance on him and he bought the land above the cave. His intention was to create an opening further up the mountain away from the one that Southern Railroad had closed and to open it up to tourists. He planned and did thorough research to find the perfect site for an elevator shaft, and in 1928 Lambert finally gathered a few good men and they started drilling. They needed to drill 420 feet straight into the heart of the mountain to make an elevator shaft that would be used to transport tourists down to the caverns below. They drilled for days, and on December 28th, just after Christmas, while one of his workers was jackhammering the rocks, now at 260 feet, he found a void in the rock and felt a gush of air. He bent and looked inside, and what he saw made him jump quickly and ran to get Leo. Leo came and looked at the opening in the rock. It was about 18 inches high and 5 feet wide. So Leo and the crew got lanterns, pickaxes, shovels, and buckets, then dropped down into the opening, and they crawled for 6 hours before they could stand up. Then 17 hours later, they crawled out of the dark and into the underground cathedral now known as Ruby Falls. It was so beautiful, and it reminded him of his lovely wife, so he had to christen it with her name, Ruby. Leo looked this over and decided to develop both caves so he could offer 2 cave tours. One would take you down to the lower cave and the other would take you to the waterfall. They worked tirelessly night and day, and on the 92nd day they reached the original cave. They installed the elevator, made paths, and in 1929 they opened the original cave to the public. Then in 1930 the second tour to Ruby Falls was opened to the public. But then in 1935, the tour to the lower cave was discontinued due to the popularity of Ruby Falls tour. They had used the limestone dug from the caverns and used it to make the entrance to the cave. They called it Cavern Castle because they had constructed the entrance to look like a 15th century castle. Years passed and the cave was doing well, but then came the Great Depression, which affected Lookout Mountain severely, and soon Leo had to declare bankruptcy. It was sold soon thereafter, and the new owners launched an aggressive advertising campaign. They lined the highway and roadside with signs, which soon started to bring hundreds of visitors to Ruby Falls. Now, Ruby Falls is one of Chattanooga's major tourist attractions. Leo, Ruby, and their children have since passed, but their work has been immortalized at the amazing underground fall known as Ruby Falls. Now I will pause so you can enjoy the magnificence of Ruby Falls. Okay, if you're still here, thank you for making it this far, and I hope you enjoyed the story of how Ruby Falls was discovered. If so, please present the thumbs up icon with a rock as a memento of this story. Also, please subscribe and share this video with people who you think would enjoy it. Remember, I will be uploading an episode once every week. So stay tuned, and I look forward to having you on the next one. Take care and goodbye.